Hey, my name is Marika Van Andel and I'm an agronomic sales rep with Syngenta, and I'm here today just outside of Drumbo, Ontario to talk about the 5 things in soybeans that I think have been most interesting this year. And one that I think is really interesting this year is how much SDS that we've seen. SDS has shown up in places where we historically have not seen SDS, and at this farm as well in Drumbo, there's quite a bit of SDS here. And I mean, this is very classic symptomology of SDS. And yeah, this has been an area where we historically haven't seen it, and that's because oftentimes SDS has been associated with soybean cyst nematode. And this is not an area where we've had a lot of soil sampled for SCN. And I believe that there's more SCN out here in this area than we think there is. So that's going to be a project this fall, is just selectively soil sampling some of these locations where we see SDS and seeing how much SCN there is there as well. But a little bit about SDS, like why are we seeing so much this year? Typically, when we have cool, wet conditions at planting, that's when SDS can be a problem, because it's a fusarium species that will infect the root system early. As soon as that seedling begins to grow, we can get infection. So now we have a bit of a degraded root system. That fusarium species has been colonizing this root system from the beginning. But why we're seeing so much symptomology now is that the fusarium species produces a toxin that gets shot up into the leaves and causes the intraveinal chlorosis and necrosis. And because of all the rain that we've had this August, it's just creating that perfect environment to produce that toxin and bring it up to the leaf system. So what do you do about it? Definitely thinking about what can we do at planting is a first step, and planting into fit soil conditions. But also knowing, do we have soybean cyst nematode in that field? Because then we can do something about that. Your first line of defense always though is genetics. Varieties have different tolerances to SDS and also to soybean cyst nematode. And there's seed treatments available now for both SCN and SDS. So at Syngenta, we have a product called Myrtec, which is a seed treatment for SDS. And we have a seed treatment called Chloriva, which is a nematicide for soybean cyst nematode. So that's definitely one of the things I've found pretty interesting this year. Another thing is white mold. And definitely white mold is not a big issue this year, especially when we compare it to last year, to 2017. But white mold is showing up, and I believe why we're seeing this is because with all these later rains, these August rains, the beans reflowered. So we saw a lot of flowers. Once that bean flowered up to the top, set those pods, it actually in August went and reflowered again. So now we have that susceptible tissue for white mold to infect. And we see that white mold coming in low in the canopy. And it would have been really difficult to protect those flowers as well with a lush canopy like this. So white mold, again, we're seeing it this year. You should actually start to see a little bit more popping up, because that initial infection will spread to other plants beside it, and we could see some more. So definitely, again, white mold, always something to be top of mind, and we need to think about population and genetics. That row spacing, and putting a fungicide on like Allegro is a great fungicide option to protect this yield from that disease. The last topic I wanted to mention today that I think has been pretty interesting this year has been Phytophthora root rot, especially since how dry it was in June and July in a lot of parts of Ontario. To see the amount of Phytophthora root rot that we've been seeing, I think has been interesting. And in some cases, it's several plants together, or an area, or in some cases, just plants here and there. But Phytophthora root rot is another one of those yield robbers that root system can be degraded, and we don't always see all the above ground damage. And again, genetics is key to selecting the right genetics to provide that protection against Phytophthora root rot. When you look in your seed guide, you'll have both a gene in some cases for Phytophthora root rot, and you'll have field tolerance. The gene is expressed early on as soon as that seedling is, as soon as that soybean seed germinates and is expressed in that seedling. And that's what protects you against that early season Phytophthora infection. then the field tolerance is what carries you through the rest of the season. So having good field tolerance is also very important, and that information is available in our NK Seed Guide. The other thing is the seed treatment can really protect against Phytophthora, and Apron Excel is metalaxyl M that can be topped up and provide more protection against Phytophthora root rot. So what does this all mean for the 2019 season? What should we be looking at this fall? So certainly we got to open up those seed guides and understand the genetics that we're looking at, and what kind of resistance do we have against SDS and white mold and Phytophthora root rot. So genetics is key, and choosing that right variety for the right acre will really help move to that next level of growing a better soybean crop. So hopefully those are a couple of tips and things that you can think about as you prepare for the 2019 growing season. And Syngenta reps are happy to help if you have any questions. We certainly do want to help you make the right decision for your farm to help you grow the best soybean crop that you can.